Thank you for joining me here on this episode of Faith Between the Lines. I'm Scott. You know, most people think courage looks bold, looks loud, and looks fearless, confident, and unshakable. But real courage, the kind that God honors, rarely looks like that. Real courage is quiet. It's trembling. It's unsure. It's the kind that takes a step while your heart is racing. It's the kind that whispers yes while your voice shakes. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving with fear. Courage is choosing obedience even when you don't feel strong. Courage is trusting God when you don't trust yourself. And God never asks you to be fearless. He is just asking you to be faithful. You know, trembling faith is still faith. There's a lie many believers carry. If I'm scared, my faith must be weak. But that's not true. Some of the strongest faith in Scripture came from the trembling people. Moses was shaking when God called him. Gideon was hiding when God found him. Jeremiah said he was too young. Esther said she wasn't qualified. David said he wasn't enough. Peter sank Thomas's doubt. Paul begged God to remove his weakness, and God used every single one of them, not because they were fearless, but because they moved anyway. Trembling faith is still faith. Shaky obedience is still obedience. A whispered yes still moves heaven. God is not looking for loud courage. He's looking for surrounded courage. You know, God honors the small sacred steps. You don't need to take a giant leap. You don't need to have a perfect plan. You don't need to feel ready. God honors the small step, the sacred step, the step you take while crying, the step that you take while doubting, the step that you take while you're unsure. Because courage isn't proven in the size of the step. It's proven in the direction of the step. Every time you choose healing over hiding, that's courage. Every time you choose honesty over pretending, that's courage. Every time you choose to pray when you feel numb, that's courage. Every time you choose to try again after failing, that's courage. Heaven celebrates the step you take while afraid more than the step that you take while confident. And in those steps, courage can be formed in weakness, not in strength. You know, we think courage comes from strength. But biblically, courage is born in weakness. Weakness is where you learn dependence. Weakness is where you learn surrender. Weakness is where you learn trust. God doesn't ask you to be strong first. He asks you to bring him your weakness so he can show you his strength. Courage is not something that you build alone. It's something God forms in you as you walk with him through fear, uncertainty, and vulnerability. Your weakness is not a liability. It's the place where God's courage grows. As a reflection of this episode, I wrote a poem for it called The Courage That Trembles. Courage isn't loud or bold. It's not the stories we've been told. Sometimes it's just a shaking breath that chooses hope instead of death. It's standing up on unsteady knees, whispering prayers through memories, taking one step though your voice is thin, letting God hold what breaks within. It's trembling hand that still reaches out, a fragile faith that fights the doubt, a quiet heart that dares to rise while tears still gather in its eyes. This is courage, soft, not clean, the kind that grows in the in-between, like light that slips through broken seams and turns our cracks to glowing beams. There will come a moment, subtle, gentle, when you realize you're not reacting the way you used to. You're calmer, you're steadier, you're more grounded, and you're more surrendered. Not because fear disappeared, but because courage grew. Quiet courage, steady courage, God-formed courage. You start trusting God more than you fear. You start choosing obedience over comfort, and you start walking into things that you once ran from. And you realize courage didn't make you louder, it made you truer. This is the kind of courage that lasts. This is the kind of courage that transforms you. And this is the kind that carries you into your calling. My closing blessing for this episode is, may you release the pressure to be fearless. May you honor the trembling courage inside you. And may you trust that God is proud of every small, sacred step you take. May courage rise in your weakness, strength grow in your surrender, and faith deepen in your trembling. You are braver than you feel, stronger than you know, and God is walking with you every step of the way. I want to thank you for joining me here on this episode of Faith Between the Lines, and I hope I met you right where you are, where your questions or comments are always welcome and can be left on YouTube or on Buzzsprout. Before I go, I want to take a short moment to thank the men and the women of our U.S. military, those who serve, those who have served, and those who stand behind them with quiet strength. Your sacrifice, your courage, and your commitment to this great country do not go unnoticed. May God bless you, protect you, and surround you and your families with peace and gratitude for all you give. And always remember this, you are never walking alone. We'll see you here on the next episode.